track 3. For those that are interested, the music we had at the beginning was Variations on a Theme by Mozart by Fernando Sor, played by Julian Bream. The piece that we had before I started was from Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim's Mass. And then this last piece that we listened to was from Yusuf Islam, formerly known as Cat Stevens. So, any questions, any discussion, topics?
And you know, I'm coming to you. Well, people might be.
When you talk about God, it's such an emotionally charged word. I think many people here experience resentment that there's those who are religious, who are the accepted population, the accepted group, and those who are not willing to accept the religion or accept God, and they're outcasts. So right away, that's an emotionally charged issue. And on top of that, I think of a conversation I had a couple of years ago with my son Eric, who was explaining to me why he decided I am now an atheist. Why? Well, if you are scientific in your thinking and you're a logical thinker, he argued with me, well, most of the murder and torture and suffering and violence that have occurred in history, because he took many history courses, he's a history major right now, said God is behind it, religion is behind it. So this is the worst problem we have on earth, is God and religion. And you can't argue with that because it's absolutely true. But you have a dictionary there, and I think this is really the heart of the problem, is that everything we talk about, what you're talking about, what I'm talking about, we're using words, and every word has history built into it. We are speaking history. We're not speaking about what we don't know. We're only speaking about what we think we do know. So that's the limitation. And it's very hard to have a rational discussion about this type of topic because of A, the emotions that are tied into it, B, the history that we look at, And three, if there are other possibilities beyond the language that we have, it's very hard to grasp a hold of, I think. But what do you think about that?
Well, many of the things you've said, I've said 1,000 times. However, one of the things I started off with saying was, in doing my homework, I discovered how ignorant I really was. The idea of deed before creed is far from new, and I had that quote from Rabbi Hillel in there for a reason. There are a large number, especially today, of enlightened theologians who basically would agree with the same things that we believe in. Now, I would say that the people who would kill in God's name are looking at the wrong God. I mean, God is, as I said, or as Karen Armstrong said, I got the idea from him, or from her, God is our creation. Now, I know that that's hard for some people to accept. But I don't think that being an atheist or being an agnostic is necessarily incompatible with some version of God. It is a bit of a paradox. As far as how emotionally charged the word is, absolutely, it is a word that has a great deal of impact on our society. And it's the reason that we need to keep the discussion moving forward.
I'll bring it up there. I wanted to say. I think it was great to play on words that God exists because it's part of our language. I don't think we find very conservative religious people saying that they say there's a living God and not that it exists because of the language that we have, because for the same reason the Green Lantern or Minnie Mouse exists in our society. My own simple definition of the way I look at God is saying that God exists for those who need it. And if you don't need it, it doesn't exist.
Well, can you possibly deny the impact that God has on your life? I mean, whether we like it or not, God exists. I will never try to convince you that a deity exists. But God is certainly out there. It is predominantly a he. He is influencing our popular culture, our politics. You can public policy. Whoever said that, yeah. You can choose to say God doesn't exist, but yet there's impact out there.
As much as Zeus, I guess.
Yes. As much as Zeus for the Greeks, the Christian and Jewish gods, and I guess more recently the Islamic God, exist for us with enormous impact, and they can't simply be written off.